Hello everyone and welcome to a new video. Today is a special episode as it is the first wheelbase of the third large player in the mainstream sim racing market that I will be reviewing. The Fanatec CSL Elite for PS4. Having a maximum power output of 6 Nm torque, it stands about at the same height as a Thrustmaster TGT and putting it in the middle segment price-wise of force feedback steering wheels. Also, just to be very clear about this, Wolfie, for me the division is 0 to 500 euro is entry level, 500 to 1000 euro is mid, and above is the high end. The high end is something I will not be testing because I simply am not qualified enough, at least not yet. So, back to our CSL Elite. The design. Sober but classy, refined and sporty. The grey middle plateau and the carbon lookalike sides prevent the base from looking boring and dull. It is a very tasteful match in my opinion. Those who are against plasticking bases, since this is a frequently returning remark in the comments of base reviews, well, Fanatec can make a good looking base from the material. I can say that it doesn't bother me at all, and where I have been hammering in some extra color for the previously reviewed bases, not with this one. It looks sleek, and on top of that, and this is a nice extra, you get a rev counter integrated in the base. It's nice because if you drive like a car that you are not used to, that sounds different, then the lights on the base can be very helpful to make you decide when to shift. The connections to the base are all via RJ12 connectors and you can really connect a multitude of hardware to it. The base is attached with 3 screws, 1 on the front and 2 at the rear. The steering wheel standard included in the CSL Elite for PS4 has a diameter of 30 cm, making it larger than the standard wheels. The materials used are metal for the frame and finished with perforated leather and suede grips. At the top there is a discrete display built in. The clickers are made to provide a strong click. I do wonder, however, why they felt the urge to put the up and down arrow on them. It feels a bit weird. Unfortunately, I was not able to test the rim, but what stands out is the soberness of it. It has quite a few buttons on it, but it looks amazingly clean and functional. I think this would actually be a rim I would like a lot. The rim that I was able to test was the McLaren GT3 2nd edition. The moment you put your hands on the steering wheel, you feel this is quality. So I drive in real life in Renault. A Renault is a fantastic car. I love the Renault. However, this is not a Renault. Thrustmaster is Renault. This is Germaneering. It is something beautiful. The technical designation of the material used for the grips is overmolded rubber grips with 50 Shore A hardness. I was too lazy to look up what this actually meant, but it's rubber and smooth and it is so satisfying to put your hands on this material. The clickers are made out of anodized aluminium and they have a diamond pattern texture for enhanced grip. It is also possible to shift up and down with one hand. And for those who wonder what the second pair of flippers is for, those are acceleration and brakes, so you don't need pedals to race, technically. It has a very good looking carbon finishing on the central part and a low res OLED in the top center. The display is fantastic. It has like the gear changes and the... But for me, unnecessary because I don't have time to look at it. I'm trying to look at the road. There are a lot of sliders, buttons and switches on the steering wheel and it can be a bit overwhelming when using it at first. I am not convinced of the layout, but I'm sure it can be useful for some people. Okay, if you want my opinion, if I have to choose between this wheel, the McLaren wheel and the Alcantara wheel, it's a hard choice. It's a very hard choice. But in the end, I would go for the Alcantara wheel because I choose a simple, clean wheel above a functional one. And the pedals? I was expecting the worst of the pedals, but they pleasantly are surprising me. So they use the same principle as Thrustmaster with a rubber cone but the difference is this is a German rubber cone. They are made out of heavy steel and have all the components built in the frame. The base, pedals and pedal faces feel all very sturdy. You will not break these pedals. The measuring is done via potentiometers, and as said, the approximation to real braking is done with a cone stopping the brake pedal. In all, basic pedals with basic technology, but it works and feels very familiar in terms of muscle memory. Also, just to add, this pedal base doesn't have pre-drilled holes to attach them, so you will need an extra nut to keep the screws into place. And now, most important, how is the ride with this Fanatec base? So this is a single bell driven wheel. It's remarkably smooth. The belt and drivers that they use for this base are of very good design and quality. While in dual belt bases from Thrustmaster you still feel a certain amount of blockiness, it is really a minimum in the Elite. I believe that it approximates the smoothness of a direct drive already very well. The technology inside came from Fanatec's higher class Club Sport series, so it is not abnormal that the feeling you experience when driving this base feels so high-end. I did, however, find it to be a very noisy base in comparison to other bases. Needless to say, with the large amount of torque it generates, things tend to heat up. It makes the sound of a German car as well. Amazing. Is it any better than the Logitech G923, Thrustmaster T300 and Thrustmaster TGT? Sure it is. In certain aspects, and in other it is less. You have to understand that rating how good a wheel is depends on the personal preference of the person using it. I would consider this wheel to be rated between a Thrustmaster T300 and a TGT, but that is solely because I only play Gran Turismo 7 and Sport, and that I simply care more about the pleasure of racing instead of beating everyone in a race. The housing is premium. There is no other way of saying this. It is a premium base. Yeah. The housing there. The thing as well. What a wheel. What a wheelbase. The conclusion would be that this base would be suited for the people that prefer a BMW, Volvo, Audi over a Peugeot, Toyota or Skoda. It looks absolutely astonishing, and not only does it look astonishing, it feels very smooth, very precise and very refined to drive. So Haas was so kind to lend it to me. I gave him a TGT in return. That's like trading a BMW for a Renault. But I promised him he would get it back soon. There is much to like about the CSL Elite for PS4. But somehow the downside of it all is that it might feel a bit clinical when you drive it. Again, it is all very personal, and I am not going to start a what wheel is better for you contest like other YouTubers do. But since you have gotten this far in the video, I am still in love with the TGT. The next upcoming wheelbase review is going to be the Fanatec GT3 Pro. I finally decided to order it and it should arrive soon. I have mixed feelings about it at this moment. It's hard to imagine that this piece of hardware can offer a smoother and more precise ride than the Elite series. Which brings me to a final note. The Elite series has been retired by Fanatec, which is a shame, because for the price of €500 you could already buy one new without the pedals. They are, however, the most popular Fanatec wheelbases being traded on the secondary market, so you might still find one to buy. Just make sure to remember that the price for these second-hand bases will be the same as when you buy a second-hand BMW. They retain their value very well. Thank you all for watching. As usual, a like, comment or subscription is appreciated. I am nearing 500 subscribers, so thank you all for the massive support already, and see you all next video.